In the last video, we went about creating the two animations, or I guess the last two videos, we created the idle animation, and then we created this fire breathing animation you see here. So what we're going to do now is we are going to export these animations out of Blender, and then we're going to take those into Unity, our game engine, and set them up so therefore we can add in our final touches in this project. So what I want to do here is I'm going to just pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and move or show the whole entire sequence we have here. As you can see, from frame 0 or 1 I should say to frame 650, it's all there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my, I'm going to select my in object mode, just select my mesh and Armature. So everything's selected here, and I'm going to go to File, Export FBX. Now there are a few things I want to do here to make sure that not only is it export out in the proper size and orientation, but also that it will give us the correct animation, and the animations will look correct as well. So I'm going to start by just selecting the selected objects option here. And technically I can turn off everything except for the mesh and the armature. I'm just going to leave it all on for now. It's not doing any harm here. I want to change the forward to Z forward. And now I want to go, I can apply all my modifiers if I want to under geometry, but because we don't really have any modifiers here, I'm just going to leave it as default. It's not, again, it's not hurting anything. Now I do want to go down to Armature. I want to uncheck the Add Leaf Bones. Then we'll go down to the Bake Animation. I'm going to uncheck all these options here, as I won't really be needing any of those options. I could probably just go away with just unchecking the NLA strips, but I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck everything there. And now this is going to just simply bake down the animations, and that will be what I need. So I'm now going to change this to something like Charizard, maybe animations, or animated. I don't know. Whatever you would like to change that to, feel free to do that. And just give it one moment to work, and then we will double check this in a moment. Oops, so I believe that this should be ready to go. Let me just double check that real quickly here. And it looks like it has all my animations. Nothing's stretching, nothing's acting out of the ordinary. And I'm just going to watch all the way through, make sure that it has everything I need, and it looks like it does. So we are good to go here. I'm going to go ahead and just close this out, and then I can save this and close this one as well. So now I'm going to open up Unity. Now I am using whatever is the latest LTS, which is like the most stable version. In this case, at the time of recording this video, the most stable version on Unity's site is 2021.3.8 F1. And what we're doing here, really, we aren't doing anything too advanced or even beyond the very basic Unity kind of, I guess, functionality. So, you know, regardless of whatever version you're using, all these techniques are very basic and fundamental, so it should work just fine. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off making a, I mean, in good practice, you probably should make a bunch of folders. In this case, I'm just going to make one folder that I'm going to call Charizard. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to drop in my assets in this Charizard. So I have my animation here. I'm just going to drag and drop that into that Charizard folder. now I do have these images. I'm just going to use these images here, so you can just drop in your textures there. And I think we should be pretty good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up this Charizard. And as you can see, already has the textures applied. I'm just going to drag and drop this into the hierarchy. Now what this is going to do for me is it's going to allow me to see kind of where I'm working with. And because we had done the Z forward and all that stuff in Blender, it should come in exactly as expected. Now sometimes if you do the Z negative, it'll bring it in backwards or upside down. It's kind of strange. So exporting it out the right way out of Blender with Unity in mind will just help speed up your pipeline. So what I'm gonna do now is I want to select on this Charizard here. I'm actually going to select it in the assets folder. It's going to be some different options. If I go to animation here, I can now see all the animation being played. I'm going to turn on the loop time. What that's going to do for me is going to simply just repeat this over and over. Now, if I want to create clips, I can do that here. So for example, let's go ahead and I'm going to make a new clip. And the first one I'm going to call just idle. And the second one I'm going to call something like fire breathe. Okay, now I need to adjust this clip here. So my idle clip is going to go from frame 1 to frame, I should type in 200. Or actually, I believe it's 250, I think about it. And then my fire breathe is going to start at 250. And it's going to go to 650. And I can loop both those if I want. And so now let's just go ahead and click on the idle and hit play. You'll see down here it says what frame it's on. And you're going to see it's going to repeat after it hits 250. It'll stop that and go back to frame 1 again, exactly as you expect. Fire breathe will do the same thing. It'll start at 250 because that's what we told it to. It'll stop at 650, and then once it hits 650, it'll go back to the 250. So make sure you apply this. It's going to prompt you to if you don't. So apply that. And now you have your two clips here, and you can make as many as you want. Now there are ways to actually export these clips out of Blender, but it's just a little bit longer process than I wanted to go through at this time. Next thing we need to do is we need to make an animation controller. So I'm going to right click in here and go to create. I'm looking for animation controller or animator controller. I'm just going to call this Charizard maybe controller. Okay, so now if I double click on this controller, I can now open this mesh up here, and you'll see we have our idle animation sequence. We also have fire breathe. I'm gonna go ahead and just drag my fire breathe for this demonstration, and now automatically when I play this, it's going to immediately start the fire breathe animation here. So let's go ahead and select in our hierarchy, select our Charizard animated. And when I select that, you'll see the inspector changes. I'm going to drag and drop this controller into there. And now I'm just going to go and hit play. And it should start to animate as you would expect in this case. Now if you don't have, you don't have any additional effects you want to put here, and this is exactly what you want, you may want to drag and drop this in to make it into turn into a prefab. Now in this case, I'm not going to go about turning this to prefab quite yet because I have a few more things I like to do before I actually make this an official prefab. But yeah, so here we are. We now have our animated character. Now these materials, because it already is populated, wasn't a big deal, but you can also apply your material if that is needed. Again, my materials automatically were applied to this character. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add in a little extra pizzazz to this character by adding in some a fire that will emit from the tail, as well as a fire breathing sequence that in the right moment you'll have fire shooting out of the character's mouth. As far as it'll turn on when the character's mouth opens up wide, and it'll stop when the character closes their mouth. So that'll be in the next video, but if that's something you're not really into or you really don't think you need, then don't feel like you have to. So if you guys want to stay tuned for the fire breathing, then that is awesome. Hopefully you guys can take these techniques into your personal projects, and I'd love to see what you guys are making.